what we want to present today is ideas, but we do not only want to present, we want to collect also ideas. We have some here collected already from our projects, but we want to collect others from you. The role of youth in innovation in sustainable land management. We have done a systematic literature review with the keywords Sub-Saharan Africa, smallholders, innovation and technology uptake. We have found about 1,000 documents which have these keywords. About 300 of them were with women as a keyword, but only 14 with youth. And that does not do justice, I think, to the role of youth.
I am Amos Kaboba from the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Ghana, and I'm also the co-chair for capacity development for the GEO-LDN. I don't have, I think I have very limited time to talk, but to just give you a little background about the important topic that we are talking about. And I'm very happy, Miguel, you've mentioned it, especially with the focus on Africa, that the point is that in some of these conventions, we make a lot of decisions, but we forget about the critical role of the youth because we are making decisions for them. And to also emphasize the fact that land resources, land capital is becoming a very expensive thing that we need to really ensure that we are engaging the youth. So within the GEO-LDN, next slide please, you can go to the next one. What we are trying to do is to, aside the usual UNCCD reporting cycle, we are trying to also, let me call it a mind change setting of how we can be able together with the youth, with the community, with the society, with the culture, with the religion, to ensure that for every pixel of land, we are creating value for it.
So, and I would like to speak about a specific technology that I'd like to share with you and discuss further. So, the topic of my presentations, biological nitrification inhibition, a science perspective of sustainable land management. To give you some context, and we're looking at smallholder farming, and I would like to qualify this when I say it consists of inefficient use of inputs. It's really the best use of limited inputs that is available to them or is affordable to smallholder farmers. And a lot of times it's all manually conducted, so there's a lot of labor and drudgery associated with it, and it's not highly productive. You can get sustained productivity, but not a high level of productivity under these conditions. And so this is not an attractive area for youth to go in as is, but it is an attractive area for the collaboration of experienced farmers with youth to bring it to a stage where it can be a lot more productive.
I will start my presentation with a brief introduction of YPAD. YPAD is a young professional for agricultural development, and it's an international movement by young professionals for agricultural development. It's present in more than 72 countries and count more than 33,000 members. Our aim is to enable and empower professionals around the world to shape and transform the current food system. Our pillar of work is divided into two. We have some advocacy and also we have some capacity building. In terms of advocacy, we advocate for a food system that is just and allow the full participation of youth through publications that we are making in various social medias, through public speaking, that's like the one that we are doing today, and also through policy working groups. Thirdly, it's very important also to have collaborations, foster collaboration between research organization and youth-led initiative. At the fourth point, agricultural policy, we are calling some institutions to support youth engagement in agricultural policy and advocacy, and lastly, to promote intergenerational knowledge exchange. For this point, it's very important for us because we believe that by mixing traditional knowledge with some youth knowledge, we can be able also to find more solutions into agricultural challenges. So I will not conclude this presentation without thanking a lot of others who provide support for this presentation and for this participation of YPAD. To thank also FARA through Interface Project and CGR. And lastly, I will thank YPAD for all their support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Before we continue, do you have comments on the two presentations, our keynotes? Questions to the nitrification? I mean, that seems to be a win-win-win situation for everything. And it is here more a question of adaptation of the product, let's say. No? In seed production, I think that is a particularity. In other technologies, I think there will be more need for practical adaptation locally. No? Do I see any hands up?
Yes,
yes.
I think my name is David. I come from Kenya, and I work mostly with youths in the communities, both rural and urban. I think most of the important questions that have been arising from the innovation, youth entrepreneurship, just from the presentation, I don't know, number 2, and this last one, where we are talking about green solutions. So in the green solutions, I think it's important because most of our young people in sub-Saharan South countries, there is that element of unemployment. But how do we support? Like he's talking about call for action. Today, youths are the entrepreneurs and the industry holders for tomorrow.
Startups, supporting startups, using remote sensing, using stuff, using people in decision-making, not only in listening. We come back to that, I promise. Because these are important elements, but we want to be a little bit more systematic. We try at least. Before we come to our examples, I take 2 other persons. I see 2 other hands here. Please present, and you. Yes?
Perfect, thank you. My name is Chied Zahiri. I'm with Ubuntu Alliance. And I wanted to say that I think when you look at the youth, it's probably worth also fragmenting the different types of youth, because now we've got different generations. You've got your millennials who are very efficiency focused. Then you've got your Gen Z that are very value driven. And then you've got your Gen Alpha, which is a generation that's going to be growing up, that's always, being exposed to the internet. And so even within the youth, there's different demographics that have different skill sets that I think we need to learn how to leverage. And I think when it comes to science, one thing that young people are being able to do a whole lot better than previous generations is the communications of the science and facilitating interdisciplinary partnerships, including leveraging platforms such as, I can be sitting here and through this, I can collaborate with researchers across Europe, America, Africa, Southeast Asia. And I think younger people were more so geared towards leveraging technologies to facilitate cost-effectively local, regional, and international and cross-sectoral partnerships. And I think that's an element of the capability of young people that is massively underexploited right now.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Sharif Sambu Boyan. My English is not very fluent, but I will try to explain what my question. The first question is about when he told about better education and access to information. I think nowadays it's more easy for young to access to information than there is 10 years later, because now with the smartphone, they can have many information. I think the job, the work we have to do is how to organize the information, how to make that they can have the good information or the information they need for build the business or for develop if they want to do something like we take it in French, entrepreneur.
And the last one.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Samba Chakisia from Rakutumang, from Madagascar, also part of YPART, and also the co-founder of the Malagasy Youth Alliance on Biodiversity, Climate, and Combating Desertification. So I'm here mostly, I would like to share my experience or the lessons I've learned by interacting with several organizations, both locally and internationally. So when working with youth, we have to think about the entry points that depend on the context youth are. For example, in my country, most people only reach primary school, and only a few can reach university, for example. So we also have to consider the differences between the rural youth and urban youth and their needs. For example, rural youth mostly need hands-on activities that bring concrete results and money due to their needs. And another point I want to stress is the implementation of the research results that can be hindered by social or cultural factors. In my country, we do a lot of research, but what we have discovered is that when we try to implement better solutions, they are facing an obstacle where the people themselves are opposing to them due to their culture, their beliefs, and even the mentality where sometimes good solutions are discouraged by the peers, for example. I take the example of mulching, where when you have to cover herbs on crops. And some people say that it's a technique for lazy people when you don't have to, because you don't have to, sorry, I forgot the word. I'm a French speaker mostly. To arroser les plantes, réduire la fréquence de l'arrosage. Yeah. You don't irrigate as frequently, and people say it's for lazy people. So that's already a peer pressure preventing from adopting those practices. Yeah, so we have to also face the mentality and even the psychology of people and youth, and even the older generations that can discourage you from pursuing those innovations. Okay, so next, since I'm also working with some organization locally work on entrepreneurship, is the scalability of those innovations, mainly financing. So we have the solutions, we have the innovations, but how to share them? I would like to stress, no, not stress, but differentiate the work of civil society and the enterprises. So civil society rely mostly on funding, or if not volunteerism, which is not sustainable if you have to implement a solution on long term, unless there is money rolling inside that can be generated from the activities. And the model that is mostly successful in my country are social enterprises or businesses themselves. And yeah, that's another point. And the last point I want to stress is to look at the end line. I'm also an agricultural economist, and I also studied agribusiness, and I would like to talk in terms of value chains. So we have seen in the examples here that we focus on innovation, improving means of production and techniques, but at the end line, we also need to ensure the market access. because when we give the farmers, for example, a new technique, and he's investing time and money in it, then he reaps the result. We have good product, a good, better production. And then when he goes to the market, for example, the market is not sure. Like for example, in my country, the products, when they arrive in the market, the price are determined by the buyers, and they can buy them at very, very low price. So if a farmer poured a lot of energy and time and resources in the product, but at the end you will get the same price as the others, they will be discouraged. So we also have to ensure that the end of the chain is reliable. And all right, that's all from me. Thank you.
It's a lot already, yeah. For the last issue, maybe cooperatives, youth cooperatives could be a solution, something like that. We have to slowly finalize here. We have collected, I think, quite some interesting ideas, and we have taken note. I think we have heard, I don't want to repeat them now, but our target groups for, let's say, for recommendations are maybe more than we have thought in the beginning. So we have, for example, the research organization, CGIAR, I think could be interesting to have these linkages to youth organizations. Universities, we have heard, they are slow and inert, but there can be courses there which bring students more into the real life and train them more to what they expect. We have, of course, we have had policy makers, when we talked about the environment, donors who could further strengthen their collaboration or their targeting of youth. We have the financial organizations, which have been mentioned, and of course, elders and communities, and businesses. So these are all target groups towards which we can formulate recommendations and ideas. Beyond what we have noted, Irene Donnelly, who has organized all this, the work behind here, my collaborator from IDOS Institute. Thank you very much for that, by the way. It was tremendous. She has provided a list where you can leave your emails so that we can contact you, that we include you maybe into our joint thinking about this recommendation or policy brief or however we call it, so that we can continue to work together. And then maybe that is also a kind of way to consolidate what we have collected today. We are really willing. For example, in Kenya and Tanzania, we are doing a research, proper research on experience of young graduates with their universities and what they are now experiencing with their employers and the rural communities they are working in. So we have still some way to go, and I invite you to accompany us in this.